Let us get ourselves prepared for lying meditation. Lie down in the bed on your back. You can use a pillow to make yourself comfortable. Put your hands by your side with the palms upwards and relax the whole body. The legs should be stretched out in a parallel position. Make sure the bed is horizontal and flat, and also make sure there is no bump in the bed. And let go of the body on the bed. Don't control any part of the body. Don't get tense. Make sure the whole body is stretched out comfortably and relaxed. Make careful preparation. And let us begin the lying meditation. On your part, don't think about anything. Stay without thinking. Even though we try to stay without thinking, we will find thoughts come up one after another. Thought about past, thought about the future, thought about something or someone will come up spontaneously. Try to be fully aware of thoughts coming up spontaneously, one after another. Try to be mindful of the thoughts coming up spontaneously. To be mindful means to be fully aware of thoughts. You will find thoughts disappear once we are mindful of them. After some time, you will find new thoughts arise spontaneously. Then try to be aware of thoughts coming up without premeditation. When we are mindful of the thought that comes up without our consent, we will find that they will go away. Try to be fully aware of the newly arisen thought. It can be an internal dialogue. It can be a reflection about past or future. It can be a judgment. It can be anxiety, or it can be anticipation about the future. Whatever thought arises, try to be fully aware of the thought. You are expected to be fully aware of whatever arises on your mind. Try to maintain a constant awareness all the time. With a lapse in mindfulness or awareness, you will find a new thought comes up spontaneously. Try to be fully aware of the newly arisen thought that comes up without our consent. Don't be carried away by the newly arisen thought. What we are trying to do is to develop full awareness, to cultivate mindfulness. Mindfulness means being fully aware of what's on our mind at the present moment. As you are trying to watch the mind, you will find out new thoughts arise one after another spontaneously. Try to be fully aware of whatever arises on the mind. Don't forget to be mindful. Just try to be fully aware of whatever arises on the mind. Try to develop presence of mind, or the present moment awareness. With a lapse in mindfulness, you will find new thoughts arise spontaneously, one after another. And then try to be mindful of the newly arisen thought. Be careful, be mindful. Whatever arises on your mind, try to be mindful of them. When you are mindful of the newly arisen mental content, you will find they will disappear. Be mindful, be careful. Try to be fully aware of whatever arises on your mind, a thought or emotions. Mental activities will keep on arising on your mind. On your part, you have to be mindful of whatever arisen in your heart. Whatever arises on your mind, try to be constantly mindful. Try to be fully aware of whatever arises on your mind. Don't slide back into carelessness. Don't forget to be mindful. Thoughts may come up from time to time. On your part, try to be fully aware of whatever thought arises on your mind. Upon repeated practice, you will find that thoughts keep on arising one after another without our consent. Be mindful, be careful. Try to be fully aware of whatever thought arises on your mind. Words, phrases, and sentences in your own language will arise on your mind spontaneously. They will come up without our consent. All these inner speech and internal verbalization are to be watched. They all are object of meditation. Even though we try to be mindful of them, they will come up from time to time. Whenever they come up, you try to be fully aware of them. They will come up in different forms. All you have to do is try to be fully aware of them. Once you are mindful of them, they will disappear. If you forget to be mindful of them, they will come up again. Be careful, be mindful of them. Just try to be mindful of each and every mental activity on your mind. When you are mindful, they will disappear. Once you lose mindfulness, they will come up again. Whatever arises on your mind, just try to be mindful of them instantly. It can be an internal dialogue. It can be a thought about past or future. Or it can be judgment or comment. Or it can be worrying about something. Or it can be an expectation. Whatever arises in your mind, just try to be fully aware of them. If you are aware of them, they will disappear. They will go away. Watch carefully. Be mindful. Don't forget to be mindful. Try to be fully aware of each and every mental activity. With a lapse in mindfulness, every new thought will arise. Once you are mindful of the thought, they will disappear. So try to be constantly aware of the mind. On your part, don't forget to be mindful of the mind itself. Don't forget to be mindful of mind's content. Try to be mindful of mind's content again and again. All you have to do is just to be fully aware of whatever arises on your mind. Don't be carried away by the thoughts. Don't be drifted away by thoughts that come up without our consent. Try to be fully aware of whatever arises on your mind. Instead of being drifted away, be careful. Don't forget to be mindful. Don't forget to be mindful of each and every thought that arises on your mind without our consent. A new thought will arise because of a lapse in mindfulness. Once you are mindful of the present moment, thoughts will go away. Lack of mindfulness, thought will arise. When you are mindful, then thoughts will go away. Don't forget to be mindful of the present moment. Don't forget to be mindful of what's on your mind at the present moment. Watch your own mind. You don't have to look for the thoughts, because thoughts will come up spontaneously without our consent. All you have to do is just to be fully aware of whatever arises on our mind. Don't look for the thought, and don't look forward to the upcoming thought. All you have to do is just wait and see. Just to be mindful of the present moment. Make sure there is no lapse in mindfulness. Don't forget to be mindful of the mind's content. All you have to do is just to be fully aware of ever new thought. Pay careful attention to one's own mind. Don't forget to be mindful. Don't forget to be mindful of ever new thought on your mind. Just try to watch ever new thought that arises spontaneously, and you will find that whatever arises on our mind will go away once we are mindful of it. Take your time. Don't be anxious. Don't be hasty. Be mindful. Don't forget to be mindful. Try to maintain constant mindfulness. Don't forget to let go of the body. Don't get tense. Don't control any part of the physical body. Relax the whole body. Don't get tense. Let go of the physical body on the bed. Don't try to control the physical body out of carelessness. Let the body stay with absolute stillness, a mind empty of thoughts. No thinking. Don't let the mind go towards anything. Whatever thought arises in your mind, try not to be carried away by it. No thinking, no inner speech, no commentary, no judgment. Not about work, not about family members, not about relatives or whatever. You find the mind tends to think about something, even though you try not to think. On your part, you are supposed to stay without thinking. Try to stay without thinking. Watch carefully. As you are lying stretched out, you may feel heavy and sluggish. You may feel dull and inactive. The body grows heavy and dull. Don't let yourself sink into a state of torpor. When you indulge in the pleasure of sleepiness due to the changes in the body, then the mind is under delusion. If we die in delusion, we will be reborn in the realm of animals. Don't take delight in the pleasure of sleepiness. Don't let the mind fall under delusion. Don't welcome sleepiness. Don't be carried away by sloth and torpor. Don't look forward to the pleasure of sleepiness. Don't wallow in the pleasure of being sluggish. Watch the mind looking forward to the pleasure of sleepiness. Try to understand that mine is not me or I. When there arises a sensation in the body, watch how the mind knows the sensation and how a thought follows accordingly. Be mindful. Being mindful means meticulously watching the nature of the mind and body. Don't identify the sensations with me or I. Don't identify the thought with me or I. Watch carefully whenever a sensation arises in the body. sensations like dullness, sluggishness, lethargy, torpidity. These bodily sensations are followed by sleepiness. When sleepiness arises, don't identify it with me or I. Don't let yourself fall asleep. In the round of rebirths, we have slept for countless length of time. Not enough sleep. The appetite for sleep is insatiable. Watch the mind indulging in sleepiness. The feeling of pleasure of sleepiness will arouse craving. Don't let this happen. Try not to be overpowered by the pleasure of sleepiness. If you can't overcome the feeling of pleasure, you won't overcome the feeling of pain. Watch the desire to indulge in the pleasure of sloth and torpor. Watch the desire to indulge in sleepiness. Watch carefully the nature of the desire. Before, the mind was going into the future or dwelling on the past. Now, because of the changes in the body, a new desire comes up to indulge in the pleasure of sleepiness. Don't be overwhelmed by that desire. Don't be carried away by the urge to pander the pleasure of sleepiness. Don't drift into sleepiness. Carefully watch the state of mind. Beware of the natural tendency to indulge in the pleasure of drowsiness. Watch carefully. Don't surrender yourself to sleep. Don't let yourself fall asleep, ignoring the teacher's instruction. Abandon the body. Leave the body stretched out like a lifeless log. Keep it absolutely still. Be mindful. Watch the desire to indulge in the pleasure of sloth and torpor. Watch the desire to take pleasure in sleepiness. Be mindful. Watch the mind. If you are not mindful, the mind will be overpowered by the pleasure of drowsiness. Watch carefully how the mind goes towards the body sensation and how it indulges in the drowsiness. Be careful, be mindful, don't lapse back into sleep. Mindfulness means watching one's own mind, observing carefully the nature of the mind, which we call I. Be careful, be mindful. Don't let the mind get attached to the body. Beware of the natural tendency of the mind going towards the body. Beware of the mind turning to gratify itself in the pleasure of drowsiness. Don't pander to the wish for sleep. Because of lapses in mindfulness, the mind panders to the pleasure of drowsiness. The mind gratifies itself in the pleasure of drowsiness. The mind is carried away into oblivion. The mind drifts into sleep. Mindfulness eliminates unwholesome states of mind. Watch how the desire wells up inside to indulge in drowsiness. Being drawn by the pleasure of drowsiness, the mind is ready to plunge into sleep, ignoring everything. Don't let this happen. Watch the mind. Be careful. You may be tempted to pander the wish to sleep. Resist the temptation to indulge in the pleasure of drowsiness. Be patient. Leave the body motionless. Don't get tense. Don't twist the body. Don't move any part of the body. Don't tense the muscles. Don't tighten the lips. Relax the muscles. Relax every part of the body. Really relax. Keep the body absolutely still. Remember the attitude of the mind, being free from the burden of the body. Remember how the mind stays without any strain, without getting tense. Remember how the mind is silent and unconcerned about the body. Recognize how the body is stretched out like a lifeless log. Be careful. Watch how thoughts, ideas, perceptions, mental comments, and emotions seep into the mind sporadically. Watch carefully. Watch carefully how these mental activities come up and go away on their own accord. Watch how the desire to move or to twist comes up in your mind. Try to realize every mental activity that comes up without your consent. Don't forget to watch these mental activities. Don't forget to deny the temptation to move or to twist the body. Resist the temptation to move the hands, the feet, the head, the legs, and the back. Watch carefully how these mental activities spontaneously rise up in the mind and how they go away on their own accord. Watch carefully how the mood changes from time to time. Don't act upon impulses. Don't be driven by impulses. Over time, pain or stiffness arises somewhere in the body. Because of these sensations, the craving to move the body arises. This way, that way, the other way. Watch carefully how craving is demanding. Don't forget not to give in to the craving. Don't forget to let craving go. For countless lifetimes, we have been a slave of craving. Now let go of craving. Say no to craving. Don't forget to resist the temptation to move, to twist, to turn, to get tense. Let go of the body. Try to be fully aware of every impulse to move the body. Be careful. Watch the mind. Try to watch the desire in your heart. Don't miss a thought coming up in your mind. Try to be fully aware of every thought and desire. On your part, you try to stay without thinking, but the thoughts and impulses keep on arising without our consent. Thoughts, ideas, emotions, and comments ooze out in the mind like oil seeping out of a cracked container. Try not to make commentary, but inner comments arise due to painful sensations in the body. Be patient, endure the pain quietly, and watch the inner thoughts patiently. Watch until they are gone by themselves. Don't forget to be mindful of every new emotion, thought, and desire coming up one after another. Don't give way to desires and impulses to change the posture. Be patient and endure the pain quietly. You may be tempted to pander to the wish to move and change the posture. Resist the temptation to move the body or to get tense. Relax the body. Don't tense the muscles. Don't make even the slightest movement to lessen the pain. We don't change the body. We are trying to get rid of the unhealthy habit patterns and change the mind. The desire to move the hand, the desire to lift the leg, the desire to twist the leg, they are all craving. Craving is every new desire in the mind to change the body. There is no end in craving. There is no final posture that pleases us. We are sorely tempted to move the body and change the posture. That's because we have been a slave of craving for countless past lives. We are much more used to changing the body than changing the mind. Now, be patient with the pain. Endure the pain and let go of the craving to change the body. So what you need is patience and endurance. Don't try to control the physical body. Don't be overwhelmed by craving to move, craving to get tense. Be patient and let go of craving. Don't watch any part of the body. Don't watch bodily sensations. It is natural for the mind to go towards body parts and start complaining. My head is burning. My back is in pain. My heels are stinging. Don't be carried away by these thoughts. You just try to watch these thoughts until they are gone by themselves. Be patient, endure the pain. The teacher doesn't tell you to watch the painful part of the body. Just try to watch the mind that goes towards the pain. Just watch the mind that starts complaining. Don't watch the body. Let the body go on its own way. Abandon the body. Let go of the body on the floor. Be patient and follow the instruction. Replace the impatience with patience. Be patient. Be patient with the pain. Endure the pain and let go of the craving to change the body. Nurture a sense of goodwill and consent towards physical discomfort. Try to learn how to abandon the desire to change the body. Don't make even the slightest movement to give in to the temptation. Abandon the desire to lessen the pain instead of indulging it. Give good cheer to pain by replacing impatience with patience. Make friends with physical pain by letting go of all the desires. Abandon the body. Be patient. Watch carefully. Comments start to arise in the mind. My back hurts. My leg's burning. It's burning or stinging, or it's gone numb or whatever. Watch all these comments in your mind and let go of the desire to change the posture. Don't watch any part of the body. Don't watch the pain. Abandon the act of watching the body and commenting on it. Let the body go on its own way. Don't be carried away by thoughts and comments about the pain. Be patient. Be mindful. Watch the mind. Don't let the mind be overwhelmed by the pain. Be patient and forgive the pain and be mindful. Be patient with the pain, endure the pain, and let go of the craving to change the body. Don't give way to desires and impulses to change the posture. Be patient and endure the pain quietly. Try to nurture more and more patience and forbearance. Don't harbor anger and impatience in your heart. Try to be more and more patient. Try to be endlessly patient. Let go of all the burning desires in your heart. Try to replace impatience with greater patience. Try to be mindful. This way, that way, the other way, more and more desires come up. Abandon all desires instead of gratifying them. Don't gratify even the slightest desire to move. A slight movement will lead to a strong desire. Be patient and watch every little desire to change the posture. Don't gratify the emotions. Let the body stay like a lifeless log. Don't get tense from the heartbeats. Try to watch the desire to move. Try to watch the discontent in your heart. Try to be fully aware of every new desire and emotions. Be mindful of every mental activity. Don't gratify the emotions on your mind. Don't forget to be mindful. Try hard to be mindful of the mind itself. One day, on your deathbed, you will find yourself in an impasse where you can't make even the slightest movement. So what we are trying to do now is learning how to overcome the pain of death. Be mindful. Don't forget to be mindful of what is on your mind at the present moment. Naturally, the mind goes towards some part of the body and starts complaining. It hurts. It's burning. It's gone numb. Don't be carried away by these unwholesome states of mind. Try to be fully aware of the mind that goes towards the pain and starts complaining. When you are fully aware of the complaining mind, it will go away. Don't indulge the craving to move the body. You try to be fully aware of the craving to move the body posture. Try to be fully aware of the urge to move the body. Try to be fully aware of the mind's content. Don't forget to be mindful. Be patient. Be mindful. The desire to move. The desire to get tense. Whatever desire comes up, you try to be fully aware of it. Be patient. You try to be patient and watch the desire that comes up due to bodily sensation. You try to be fully aware of ever new urges that come up on your mind. Don't be carried away by the ever new urge on your mind. That's called craving. Don't get tense. Don't move any part of the body. Don't get tense. Abandon the physical body like a lifeless log on the floor. What you need is patience and mindfulness. Try to be fully aware of every activity of the mind. My head is burning. My leg hurts. The heel is burning. There may come up complaining on your mind. That's because the mind goes towards the pain naturally. You try to be fully aware of how the mind goes towards the pain and starts complaining. Don't be carried away by emotions and desires. Don't give in to temptations to move the body, to change the posture, to get tense. Don't control the body with mind. Don't control any part of the body. Don't get tense. Don't get tense from within. Try to be patient. Try to know the impatience. You try to replace impatience with patience. Don't gratify every new desire to move the body, to get tense. Don't gratify the urge to get tense. Don't gratify the ever new urge to lessen the pain. Try to be fully aware of the present state of mind. Mind watching the mind itself. Don't worry. Don't be anxious. Be mindful. What you need is patience and forgiveness. Try to stay with a cheerful heart towards the physical discomfort. Forgive the pain. Forgive the pain. Make friends with the pain. Nurture a sense of forgiveness towards physical pain. Don't make even the slightest movement. Don't get tense. Making movement and getting tense come from unforgiving mind. Try to watch the mind that is trying to move the body. Try to watch the mind that is getting tense. Try to watch the mind that is longing to get up. Try to watch the mind that is longing to move the body. Try to watch the mind that is longing to get tense. Try to watch the mind that is longing to twist the body. Don't gratify these unwholesome states of mind. So don't be overwhelmed by the unwholesome states of mind. If there is no mindfulness, the mind will be overwhelmed by unwholesome states. So develop a sense of mindfulness to overcome these unwholesome states of mind. Try to nurture a sense of forgiveness and patience. Abandon the body, totally abandon the body on the floor like a lifeless log. Make sure there is not the slightest movement in the whole body. Make sure not to make slightest movement in the body. Be careful not to get tense any part of the body. You try to overpower the unwholesome states of mind. So what you need is mindfulness, patience, and forgiveness. By virtue of these wholesome states on your mind, you can overcome the unwholesome states of mind. Don't forget to be mindful, be patient, be mindful. Replace impatience with patience. Try to be alert. You try to be alert. Getting tense comes from impatience. So be patient not to get tense. Be patient not to move the body. You try to be patient not to get tense. You try to be patient not to twist the body. So don't gratify the unwholesome states in your mind. Don't give in to temptation to move. Be mindful. You may feel being trapped in your heart. Don't take it to be a burden. Don't take it to be an affliction. Don't indulge the desire to move the body. That impasse on your mind is called craving. These are unwholesome states in your mind. We are trying to get rid of these unwholesome states in our mind. Try to watch your own mind with detachment. Be mindful. Don't forget to be mindful of whatever arises on your mind. With a lapse in mindfulness, temptation will arise on your mind to move the body, to get tense, the temptation to move the body. the temptation to get tense. They are all craving unwholesome states of mind. Watch these unwholesome states of the mind. Watch with detachment. Whatever emotion arises on your mind, try to be fully aware of them. Don't think about anything. What we are trying to do is to be fully aware of whatever arises in our mind. Watching one's own mind. As we are watching the mind, we will find that ever new thoughts keep on arising on our mind. Whatever thought arises on our mind, you try to keep watching them. You try to be fully aware of your own mind. Be careful, be heedful, don't forget to be mindful. Don't forget to be mindful of whatever emotion arises on your mind. With a break in mindfulness, thought will keep on arising one after another. So whatever arises on your mind, you try to be fully aware of the mind itself. Try to be fully aware of every new thought that comes up one after another. What we are trying to do in this technique is developing mindfulness. Trying to be mindful, trying to be fully aware of the mind contents at the present moment. Mind watching the mind itself. Try to be constantly aware of the mind's content. Whatever arises on your mind, thoughts, ideas, judgments, comments, emotions, whatever arises on your mind, try to be fully aware of them. Try to stay with an attitude of detachment towards the unwholesome states in your mind. What we are trying to do is developing detachment towards one's own mind. If we can't develop detachment towards physical pain, we will suffer agony and distress on our deathbed. If we don't know how to detach the mind from the physical pain, we will suffer at the time of death. So, in this technique, we are trying to learn how to develop detachment towards the physical pain. So try to be fully aware of the unwholesome states that arise due to physical pain. Try to stay without changing the posture, without getting tense, without moving the body. Try to watch with detachment ever new desire to control the physical body. You may feel trapped, but try to ignore pain and stay with the heart with full detachment. Whatever desire arises in your mind, watch them and don't be overwhelmed by the desire to move, the desire to get tense, the desire to twist about the body. Don't gratify all these desires. Be patient and endure the pain. Be mindful. Try to be mindful of how the mind experiences the pain. Try to be fully aware of whatever arises on your mind, the unwholesome states, the desire to move the body, the desire to get tense, the desire to twist the body. Don't give in to temptations. Be patient. Replace impatience with patience. Abandon the body at any cost. Let go of the body. Let the body stay like a lifeless log on the floor. What you need is patience and forgiveness. Letting go of all the desires to control the body. Abandon the body. Don't gratify all the desires to control the body. Try to be more and more patient. Make sure there is no connection between the body and mind. Let go of the body. like you take off the unwanted clothes and put it aside. Abandon the body like you abandon unwanted litter away. Try to be patient. Be patient. Replace impatience with patience. Abandon the body at any cost. Give it your life. Don't make even the slightest movement in any part of the body. Make sure there is no active connection between the mind and body. Totally abandon the body. If you can totally let go of the body, you will find your heart is spacious and clear. A mind totally cut off from the body. A heart unburdened and a mind calm and peaceful. A mind free from the clutches of unwholesome state. Free from unwholesome state, the mind becomes peaceful and calm. Let the physical body go on its own way. Don't watch any part of the physical body. Recognize how the mind is calm and peaceful. If your mind is not free from physical pain, that's because you are gratifying the craving. That's because you are gratifying the urge to move. Because you are gratifying the urge to get tense. As long as you are gratifying the unwholesome urges, the mind will not be free from suffering. So don't gratify the temptation to move the body. Resist the temptation. Try to be fully aware of the temptations with a detached manner. Forgive and be patient. Try to be more and more patient. If your mind is free from the burden of physical body, you try to watch how the mind is calm and peaceful, how the mind is spacious and free. You will feel as if the mind and body were separate things. The mind becomes spacious and clear. Don't be afraid. Abandon the body. Abandon the body totally. Let the body go, enjoying the pain, and be patient. Abandon the body on the floor like a lifeless log. Don't control any part of the body. As long as you control the body, the mind will not be free. Abandon the body at any cost. Give it your life. Don't get tense. Don't get tense from within. Abandon the body with total detachment. In some people, mind and body become apart. In others, they would feel as if the mind walks out of the physical body. Don't let this happen. Instead of letting the mind walk out of the body, you try to watch the body in a detached manner. Try to watch the body as directed by the teacher, at least for some 30 minutes. Instead of taking delight in peace of mind, try to visualize the physical body lying flat on the floor. Use your intellect to fully comprehend the nature of the physical body. It is intellectual visualization of the physical body. We're going to visualize intellectually the physical nature of the body, starting from the skull in the head. Watch the whitish brown skull in the head through intellectual visualization. Try to imagine the skull in the head as if you were witnessing a brain surgery. The image of the skull will not come up spontaneously. You have to use intellectual visualization. Don't look with your naked eyes. Your naked eyes cannot see anything. Use your mind's eye to see the skull in the head. Visualize the skull in the head. The whitish brown skull we can find in the head. You can use autosuggestion to see what is really there in our head. The whitish brown skull. Imagine the whitish brown skull in the head. Don't look at the outer appearance of the physical body. Steadily imagine what is really there in the head, the whitish brown skull, as if you are seeing the X-ray image of the skull. It's just like checking the appearance of your image in the mirror before you. You try to visualize the inner image of this physical body. Visualize intellectually the image of the head, as if you are penetrating into the head. Imagine the whitish brown skull in the head. Imagine steadily the whitish brown skull in the head. Imagine for some 30 minutes the image of the skull in the head. Try to imagine the skull penetratively. Try to see the skull through intellectual visualization. Try to see penetratively. Try to see as if you are holding the skull with your hands. Try to imagine penetratively the whitish brown skull made up of calcium compound. Imagine steadily for some 30 minutes. The vivid image of the skull will appear gradually. Try to see with the mind's eye the whitish brown skull, the round skull gradually. Imagine steadily, watch steadily the whitish round skull. Keep on watching the whitish round skull in the head. Don't be afraid, don't be anxious. There is nothing to be afraid because we are watching our own physical body. If you can have a vivid picture of the skull, keep imagining. Use your intellect to see the vivid picture of the image of the round skull in the head. Be careful, be mindful, visualize intellectually, follow my instructions. Now the mind becomes spacious and clear, as if the mind and body were separate things. The mind is freed from the burden of the body. The mind is freed from the unwholesome states. The mind becomes spacious and clear. The mind becomes calm and peaceful. Those people whose mind is calm and peaceful, try to visualize intellectually the bones inside the body, the skeleton. Don't look through your naked eyes. Don't create a picture in front of you. You just try to see or visualize the skeleton inside lying on the bed. Watch the skull in the head with your mind's eye that is really existent in this physical body, in the head. Try to visualize the skull as if you are removing the skin, as if you are witnessing the brain operation. Try to visualize intellectually the whitish brown skull in the head. It's not pinpointed imagination. It's just autosuggestive imagination using your intellect. Watch the whitish brown skull. Carefully watch the whitish brown skull that is existent in the head. Make steady imagination. Watch the round skull in the head. Visualize two hollow cavities in front of the skull where two eyeballs would be. Try to visualize the short ridge of nasal bone. Watch the upper jawbone and lower jawbone. It's not pinpointed imagination. It's just autosuggestive imagination of what is really there. Watch the whitish brown skull. Carefully watch the skull in the head. Make a steady imagination of the whitish brown skull in the head and two hollow cavities where two eyeballs would be. Watch two eye cavities and then the nasal ridge bone between the two eye holes. Watch carefully and watch carefully the upper jaw bones and lower jaw bone. The upper jawbone and lower jawbone. Try to watch the chisel-like teeth made up of calcium compound. 32 teeth located both on the upper jawbone and lower jawbone. Try to visualize intellectually and watch the mandible jawbone, the whitish brown jawbone made up of calcium, and the whitish teeth made up of calcium, stone-like tools. Teeth are made up of stone-like material. It's just limestone compound. It's calcium compound. So stone is made up of calcium compound. So calcium is not human. Try to imagine the shape and color of the skull, the cranial bones. The skull is made up of the 4 cranial bones. You try to imagine as if you were holding the whole skull. Make a steady imagination as if you were holding the whole set of skull. Make an autosuggestive imagination. Try to visualize the nature, the form and color of the skull. In this skull made up of calcium compound, there is no I, no you, no race, no religion. In this skull, there is no one to love, there is no one to hate. In the skull, there is nothing to vie with, there is nothing to defeat. The skull is just a calcium compound. So in this calcium compound, there is no I, no he or no she, no religion, no race. There is no woman, there is no man. When we investigate into human body like this, we can find no man. What we really find is just the skull made up of calcium compound. When we closely investigate this physical body which we call human being, what we really find is just the skull made up of calcium compound, which is no man, no woman. So we come to understand this physical body is not a man or a woman. Now let's go on to see the neck bone made up of small bones called vertebrae. You try to imagine intellectually as if you are holding the neck bone with your hands. The vertebrae are a series of small pieces of calcium limestone having several projections and a hole through which the spinal cord passes. You imagine intellectually as if you are holding the neck bone, and reflect wisely. In these pieces of bones, there is no human, no man, no woman. There is no race. There is no religion. Since these are no man or no woman, there is nothing to love. There is nothing to hate. We will understand the impersonality nature of the human body. What is really existent is the skeleton made up of virtual limestone, made up of calcium compound. Being unable to see this truth, we take the notion of human being to be real. Then love and hate follows accordingly. In this skeleton of limestone, in this skeleton of calcium compound, how can we find someone to love? How can we find someone to hate? So when we see in this way, we come to understand there's nothing to love or to hate in this body. And then try to imagine the two shoulder blades and the two collarbones on both sides of the neck. They are all limestone structure made up of calcium compound, the minerals and collagen. You try to visualize intellectually. They all look like a cloth hanger. They form the hardcore frame of this torso. Try to visualize intellectually. So in this calcium structure, there is no man, no woman. There is no race, no religion. Because calcium is the mineral from earth. It's a kind of limestone. So in this structure of limestone, there is no man, no woman. So how can we rightly say this is man, this is woman? How can we rightly say this limestone structure to be human being? The collarbone and the shoulder blade meet at shoulder joint, from which there runs down the arm bone or humerus. The concave humerus is neatly fitted into the convex shoulder joint bone. The arm bone humerus runs down to meet two arm bones at the elbow joint. All these bones are made up of calcium compound. So the two arm bones runs down to the wrist, where small pieces of bones of palm are fitted with tendon and ligament to form the wrist. And from the wrist and the palm bone, they run down the 5 phalanx or finger bones. All these bones, small or big alike, are made up of calcium, minerals, and collagen from the earth. They are all of impersonal nature. Make a steady visualization using your intellect. The neck bone ran down from the bottom of the skull to the pelvis. The spinal column runs and is made up of small pieces of bone called vertebrae, having several projections and hole through which the spinal cord passes. Each vertebrae has smooth facets for joining each other, and they make up the spinal column where muscles are attached. Who has created this limestone structure? We didn't make these things by ourselves. These things are not made by our father and mother, our parents. All these limestone structure are built by our past karma. It's nobody's house. The whole limestone structure is nobody. All these calcium compound structure doesn't belong to anyone. Starting from the 8th to the 20th vertebrae, ribs extend from both sides and bend back to the front of the body, enclosing a cavity for visceral organs within. That's the rib cage. The ribs and the breastbone form a rib cage, enclosing the heart and lungs. You try to visualize the shape, form and color of all these skeletal structure of this physical body. Try to make steady visualization intellectually. Make a visualization steadily of all these skeletal structure made up of calcium compound, as if you are looking with your own naked eyes. You try to imagine intellectually and investigate the impersonal nature of the skeletal structure. The whole skeletal structure is in fact a natural material phenomenon. In fact, it is a house built by craving. It is not something built by us. In your mind's vision, focus on the image of the bony skeleton and intellectualize it to get a deep understanding of how the physical body was neatly carved out by craving. Try to rationalize that the physical body is a natural material phenomenon rather than a human being. We cannot build the whole complex limestone skeleton on our own. It is the craving that skillfully carves out the limestone framework for the house to live in. You should intellectualize in this way. Between the lowest ribs and hip bones, the vertebrae become bigger and bigger, moving downwards until the spine meets the pelvic girdle, which looks like a basin. The lowest part of the spine ends with the coccyx bone. Together with hip bones and pubic bones, the pelvis forms the pelvic girdle and protects the bladder, kidneys, and the lower intestines. The whole skeletal structure is not built by our parents, and we didn't build by ourselves. The house is built by the past karma, and in this life we have to reap what we have sowed in the past life. Towards both sides of the lower part of the pelvic girdle, the smooth round parts of the thigh bones fit into sockets along with very strong articular cartilage to form the hip joints. From each hip joint, the thigh bone runs down until it meets the two shin bones, forming the knee joint, which is covered with a kneecap. The two sets of lower limbs are symmetrically identical structures. We did not build this structure, so this body is not me, not my property. It is craving that has neatly built this structure. The lower ends of the two legs bones meet the ankle bones and heel bone. The ankle joints are cushioned with articular cartilage. So we need to investigate whether there is human being in this structure or not. What is really existent is not human being. It's only limestone structure made up of calcium compound. In this calcium structure, there is no religion, there is no race, there is no human being. To the front of the ankle joint are two transverse sets of 5 toe bones. small pieces of calcium compound. Make an overall imagination of the whole structure of skeleton bones, visualizing the whole set of skeletal bones, and we try to find out what is really there and what is not really there. Vipassana is not a hypothesis. Vipassana is not a postulation of one's own devising. It is not a faith, nor a religion invented by Gautama Buddha 2600 years ago. What the Buddha tells us to do is try to see the reality. To try to see everything in their true light. So we are trying to see what is really there in our physical body in their true light. Visualizing the whitish brown skull, we try to find out what is I. Is this white round skull called I? So what is man and woman? In this limestone structure of the whitish skull, we cannot find man or woman. Whether it is a man's skeleton or a woman's skeleton, the chemical composition of the skeletal structure is calcium compound, the same. There is no difference between man's skeleton and a woman's skeleton, none of which can be rightly called human being or man or woman. We did not build this limestone structure by ourselves. If we have built this structure by ourselves, we can call this skeleton to be me or to be I. Now, in this skeleton structure, there is nothing we have built by ourselves. In this skeletal structure, there is nothing built by our parents. During prenatal development in mother's womb, our parents didn't make the skull by themselves. And there is no one who made this skull of us. Now, looking at the limestone structure of the whitish round skull, we find nothing that is attractive and lovable. There is nothing to love or to hate in this skeletal structure of us. Being unable to see this truth, we just look at the outer appearance of this skeletal structure, which is covered by skin. We take this to be man, this woman, this beautiful, this ugly, this educated, and this uneducated, this the wealthy, this the poor, this powerful, this powerless. However much we try to discriminate, looking at the outer appearance of this physical body, what is really existent inside is just impersonal calcium compound. So in calcium compound, in this materiality, there is no life, no soul. What is really existent is the material nature of the hard calcium compound or virtual limestone. So we need to penetrate this truth. This is called the right seeing. The Buddha said, as long as we cannot see in this way, we tend to discriminate. we tend to differentiate in the light of race and religion. When there is discrimination, there is disunity. We tend to discriminate the higher class and the lower class. When we discriminate in this way, there is disunity among people. When there is disunity among people, there come different sorts of problems. When we don't see the impersonal nature of this physical body, there can be conceit and depression. There can be superiority complex and inferiority complex. That's the cause of problems in our society. When we don't see the skeleton as skeleton, there comes attachment in our mind. We become attached to our family members. This is my father, this is my mother, this is my son, this is my daughter. In this skeleton of limestone compound, do we find father or mother, son or daughter? Is this limestone structure my son, my daughter, my father or my mother? In this limestone skeleton, do we find father or mother, son or daughter? So when we make a thorough investigation, looking at the limestone structure, we can find nothing personal. So when we find lack of personality in this limestone structure, we know what is really existent, the calcium compound. So what is really existent is the calcium compound, and what is not really existent is this man, this woman, this human being. So when we see this impersonal truth, there is no love and there is no hate. There is no race or religion. Due to geographical and cultural differences, people may look different. But in ultimate reality, there is no difference between people inside this physical body. There is this skeletal framework made up of calcium compound, minerals and collagen. What the Buddha tells us to do is to try to see what is really existent in this physical body, the calcium compound structure, the skeleton. The Buddha is by no means putting forward a new religion or faith. If we take what is not existent to be real or existent, there comes like and dislike and love and hate in our heart. When we see what is existent as reality, the skeletal framework of calcium compound, there is no hate and no love in our heart. When there is greed, hatred and delusion in our heart, our mind is burnt with fire and we suffer. If we want to put out the fire in our heart, the only thing we need to do is trying to see the real nature of this physical body, the impersonal nature of this house built by craving. When we can see the true nature of this impersonal physical body, we see there is no man, no woman, no race and no religion. Then we see the real material nature, the calcium compound. Then there is no love and hate in our heart. Then our mind is freed from suffering. There is no fire in our heart. Visualizing the rib cage, ask yourself, did I make this rib cage by myself? Does it belong to me? Is it made by my parents? I didn't make this rib cage. My parents didn't make this rib cage. So it is wrong to take this rib cage to be me or my property. It is wrong to take this rib cage to be man or a woman. What is really there is only rib cage made up of calcium compound. People wrongly take this rib cage made up of calcium to be man or woman. Gautama Buddha teaches us to see in the right way. If we take the arm bones to be this man or this woman, we are in the wrong, because they are all made up of calcium compound. Looking at the arm bones, we cannot rightly say this man or this woman. There is no race or religion in the arm bones. When we see in this way, there is no love and no hate in our heart. When we see in this way, there is no differentiation between people, and there will be peace in the whole world if everyone can see in this way. There will be no armament in this world. So long as there is armament in this world, there will be wars, and there will be no peace at all in this world. Now we come to know the cause for the peace in the world. So the most important thing to do in life is to replace the wrong views with the right view. Visualizing the vertebrae and the backbone, we try to understand what is really there, the calcium compound, without race or religion. What is really there is no man, no woman. The impersonal pieces of bones made up of calcium compound. There is not to love and not to hate. The pelvis, the thigh bones and the shin bones, you try to visualize in the mind eyes. The feet bones, all the skeletal parts of the body, you try to visualize and understand. Every part of this skeletal bones are made up of calcium compound. They are all of impersonal nature. No man, no woman, no race and no religion at all. In all these calcium compound, there is no life, there is no soul. Because of calcium deficiency, we have to take calcium diets. There are minerals in this physical body, the ferrous, the calcium, the magnesium, the potassium. They are all minerals from the earth. So this physical body is made up of the minerals from the earth. So in minerals, there is no race, no religion, not this man and not this woman. You try to rationalize intellectually, recognize what is non-existent, the non-existence of man, woman, race and religion. You also try to recognize what is really existent, the calcium, the magnesium, the iron, the potassium, the minerals in this physical body, all of them with impersonal nature. So don't take the conventional truth to be reality. So this man, this woman, race and religion is conventional truth. It's not reality. Try to visualize the whole set of skeleton in the body, from head to toe, every part of the skeletal bones. Cannot be rightly said, this man, this woman. They cannot be identified with race and religion. There is nothing in this skeleton to love or to hate. It is not something to be attached to be fond of. It is not something to be idolized. You try to intellectualize in this way again and again. There can be people who cannot visualize the skeleton. They can watch the mind. Try to be fully aware of one's own mind. If you can visualize the skeleton, you proceed further and try to visualize all the visceral organs inside this body, the heart, the lungs, the intestines, the blood vessels, the liver, the stomach, and so on. Those people who cannot visualize all these internal organs can focus on the bodily sensations, the rudimentary element manifested as heat and cold, hardness and softness, vibration and tension. Some people may find the whole body is on fire, burning with the heat produced within the body. They may find different sensations in the body, a tingling sensation in the elbows, a burning in the heels, a sharp pain in the pelvis, and the stiffness somewhere in the body. So when we focus on the bodily sensation, the stiffness or the sting or the heat and the cold, there is no leg, there is no arm, there is no head, there is no torso, just manifestation of the rudimentary element, stiffness or heat or cold or numbness. So what is really there is no man, no woman, just manifestation of the four rudimentary elements in the body. The heat and cold is manifestation of the fire element in the body. The stiffness is manifestation of the earth element in the body. In some people, sweat may come out. That's the water element in the body. So in this body, what appears is just the manifestation of the four elements. We can find no man, no woman in this body. All these elements are going on their own way. Some people may find vibration and tension in the body. That's because of air element. All these bodily sensations are manifestation of the four material elements in the body, which are all of impersonal nature. No man, no woman, no race, no religion. Conventionally, we would say this man, this woman. We would say in terms of race and religion. But in reality, in this body, there is no man, no woman, no race, no religion. What is really there is just manifestation of the four rudimentary elements: stiffness, heat and cold, vibration and tension, and sweat. In these manifestation of the rudimentary elements, we can find no father, no mother, no son, no daughter. They all are of impersonal nature. You try to directly experience the nature of heat or cold in the body, the nature of numbness or stiffness in the body, the nature of tension and vibration in the body, the nature of moisture or sweat in the body. The abdomen is swelling up and falling down. That's because there is air in this physical body. There is no man, no woman in this physical body. You try to realize the truth in this way. What is really there is not man, not human being. The air element in the body. So this body is the body of air, or the body of water, the body of heat and cold. So in the air element, there is nothing to love, there is nothing to hate. So in this body there is air element. So in a football, there is air element. In a tire of a vehicle, there is air element. So in air element, there is nothing to love. There is nothing to hate. There is no race and religion in the air element. You try to see the truth of air element that is real existent. If we can look upon this physical body as the air element, there is no love or hate towards this physical body. There is no discrimination regarding race and religion. When there is no love and no hate, our mind is free from greed, anger, and delusion. When we can see everybody in this way, there is no discrimination regarding race and religion in our heart. Our mind is free from love and hate. Our mind is free from greed, anger, and hatred, and delusion. And our mind is at peace. Watch carefully all the manifestation in the physical body. From now on, we are going to develop insight into the nature of the reality. The elements in this physical body are manifested as the sensation of heat, and then sensation of cold, the sensation of numbness, the sensation of stiffness. All of these sensations has the nature of inflicting us with pain. They will keep on inflicting upon us until the dying day. This physical body has the nature of affliction. This physical body will afflict on us with various kinds of diseases. So this physical body has the nature of afflicting us with various kinds of diseases. Do we make by ourselves this body to afflict upon us? Can all these diseases be avoidable? There is this stiffness or numbness or heat and cold afflicting upon us all the time. The body inflicts us with numbness. If numbness were me or I, we would have been able to stop it. But numbness is not me or I, and this numbness is unavoidable. Is it suffering or not suffering? Check it out. If the body were me, we would have been able to control the body. So, the body is not me or I. Be careful. The body is of the nature of suffering. Every sensation manifests in this body comes up without our consent. And each and every sensation is replaced by another. So they are of impermanent nature. The body is impermanent, and this body is suffering. There is no race and religion in this physical body. There is no gender in this physical body which is identical with suffering. This physical body is impermanent, and this physical body does not come to our way. It is out of our control. So what is really there is a physical body that is impermanent, a physical body that is suffering, a physical body that is not me and not I, not my property, a physical body that is afflicting us all the time. Try to understand in this way. You try to clearly understand the material nature manifested as heat and cold, stiffness and hardness and numbness everywhere in this physical body. We have to find this body to get relief from the heat inflicted by it. We have to feed this body to get relief from the hunger inflicted by it. We have to give water to this body to get relief from the thirst inflicted by it. This physical body is indeed the source of all the aches and pains and discomfort. However much good food we give to this physical body, what we get in return is suffering. Whatever we do to make this body comfortable, what we get from this body in return is just suffering. However much we tend to this body to get pleasure, to make the body comfortable, the pleasure we get from this body are just so impermanent. However much we try this body to come to our way, the body never comes up to our wishes. There may be people who are watching the mind. Watch how a thought arises, even though you try not to think. A thought about past experience comes up without your consent. A thought about a future plan comes up without premeditation. Examine carefully. Though we try to stay without thinking, thoughts keep on seeping out into our mind. Thoughts are coming up and passing away on their own accord. So the mind doesn't follow our plan. So it is not our property. The mind cannot be rightly identified as me or I. It has the intrinsic nature of taking something as its object and making comments, decisions, and reactions. Mind is just a shapeless, If the mind were me, we must be able to stop this mind from thinking. Now we cannot stop the mind from thinking. So the mind is not me, not I. The mind is not self. Thought about sun arises. When we watch that thought, it ceases to exist. A thought about daughter arises. When we are mindful of the thought, and then it stops. A thought about friend arises. It passes away. A thought about past experience or about a friend arises. When we are mindful of the thought, it passes away. It ceases to exist. Thought will keep on arising on their own accord without our consent. So try to be aware of whatever thought arises without our consent. Thoughts will keep on arising spontaneously without premeditation. Watch carefully whatever appears on your mind. On your part, let the mind be still without thinking and without comments. Try to be fully aware of every mental formation with an attitude of detachment and objectivity. If you are watching the skeleton, you try to watch the blood and the flesh in the body. Try to visualize intellectually this physical body is just a heap of flesh. It's just an edible thing. This physical body is made up of the flesh of other animals. So it is made up of flesh. Something made up of flesh is just a lump of flesh that is edible. An edible thing made up of super-edible things. The flesh is nutrition. It is totally wrong to take flesh, the edible thing, to be me or I. Try to watch the blood-stained flesh, a lump of flesh stained with blood. Try to visualize a lump of flesh stained with blood. Try to visualize the flesh in every part of the physical body. The lump of flesh are not me, not other people, not other beings. The blood is not me and not other people, not other beings. There is blood in other animals. There is also blood in human beings. What is really there is the red blood. What is really there is lumps of flesh. So blood and lump of flesh are just nutrients. They are all just food, just edible food. Not human being, not animals. You intellectualize in this way. By outer appearances, we take this father, this mother, this son, this daughter, this human, this animal. But when we cut deep into this body, what we find is just blood and flesh. Try to realize the true nature of blood and flesh intellectually. You try to focus on the true nature of the blood and flesh found in every animal, every living being. In its true nature, there is blood in everyone's physical body. Underneath the skin, the blood can be found in everyone's body. From medical point of view, the blood is classified as A type, B type, O type, and AB type. In blood, there is no type of man type or woman type. In the blood, there is no Chinese type, no Myanmar type, no American type. In blood there is no type regarding race and religion. People wrongly take the blood to be me or someone, or this man or this woman. In Vipassana meditation, we try to see things in their true nature. Watch carefully. There are in this body blood vessels and tendons. Regardless of race and religion, we can find blood vessels of intricate network in the physical body of everyone. Who has made this whole intricate network of blood vessels in our body? We didn't make by ourselves, nor was it made by our parents. This intricate network of blood vessels, the whole system, was made by our past karma. You try to intellectualize in this way. There are these tendons in this physical body for making movement. Did we make these tendons and muscles in the body by ourselves? Did our parents make these things in this body? In everyone's physical body, regardless of race and religion, there are these intricate system of blood vessels and tendons and muscles. If we make close investigation of these things separately, there is no race or religion. They're all made up by karma. For this physical body keep going. We didn't make these things by ourselves. So these are not my belongings, not my property. The heart is throbbing and pumping up blood in these vessels. Did we make ourselves for the heart to throb and pump up the blood? Are we doing something to circulate the blood to keep ourselves going? The heart keeps on beating. The blood keeps on circulating without our effort. So these parts are going on their own natural course. If we take these parts to be me or my property, we are in the wrong. Did we implant the heart within by ourselves? It is not something that is implanted by our parents. In reality, the heart belongs to no one. The blood vessels belong to no one. The blood belongs to no one. Let us look for someone who has brought about these things in this body. That's because of our past karma. Karma is just like the seed we sowed in the past. In this life, we have to reap the fruits of the seed we sowed. If we take this house built by karma to be me or to be I, we are in the wrong. And watch how the in-breath and out-breath taking place. The lungs keep drawing in and expelling air. Do we have to breathe in and out by ourselves? Or is the breathing taking place on its own accord? Examine carefully. You will notice the in-breath and out-breath is not done by you. It keeps on going by itself. We didn't make by ourselves for the blood to circulate in the whole body. We didn't make the breathing by ourselves. In every living being, the lungs keep on going on its own way, drawing in and expelling air. There is no gender in lungs. There is no religion and race in lungs. You try to be fully aware of how lungs keep on drawing in and expelling air. You recognize how the lungs keep on going on its own way. While we are sleeping or eating, the lungs keep on going on its own natural way. Whether you are standing or walking or bathing, the lungs keep on going on its own natural way. Do we have to put effort for the lungs to breathe in and out? Do we have to put effort for the heart to keep throbbing? Do we have to put effort for the blood to circulate in the vessels? You try to rationalize intellectually, drawing in fresh air, expelling out the contaminated air. The lungs keep on going on its own natural course. All these organs in the body are doing their own function without a self or soul. They keep on going on their own way for the mind to keep going. When the mind stops, we are dead. If the in-breath does not follow the out-breath, we are dead, and the mind ceases to exist. Try to see the breathing is taking place without our effort. So the breathing takes place without our effort. We have to watch carefully to learn how these visceral organs in the body are going on their own natural course. Both human beings and animals alike, everyone lives with a single moment of consciousness until the momentum of past karma expires. The whole system of this physical body keeps going on its own natural course. The heart is throbbing and pumping up blood because of the past karma. Try to visualize the stomach and intestine in the physical body. Try to visualize intellectually how the intestines is pulsating and absorbing nutrition. Try to focus on the intestines inside through visualization. The intestines are functioning to absorb nutrition from the food and to excrete unwanted food through the anus. If the intestines stop its functioning, then we are dead. There will be no more consciousness. And for the consciousness to keep on arising, the stomach and intestines have to keep on walking. They have to keep on going on their own course. Are the stomach and intestine walking at our will? Are they going on their own natural course? You try to discover the truth of non-self. Do we have to breathe in and out? Do we have to make the heart throbbing? Do we have to make the intestines to absorb nutrition by ourselves, to keep ourselves going? Discover the truth and try to watch the kidneys. The kidneys are responsible for cleansing the blood and excretion of the waste matter. Once the kidney stops its function, then we are dead. No more consciousness. Do we have to do anything for the kidneys to cleanse the blood? Did we implant kidneys inside by ourselves? Ask yourself and rationalize intellectually. Regardless of race and religion, every human being has a pair of kidneys in their body. The same goes true with stomach and the intestines. Every living being has the system of food digestion and absorption that is impersonal. When we don't see the impersonal truth of the physical body, we take this body to be me or to be my property or my body. When this body keeps on going, we take I am living. The Buddha urges us to look things in their true nature. So vipassana is looking at things in their true light. You try to visualize the liver in the body. Its function is to secrete bile and to detoxify the blood. Regardless of race and religion, everybody has a liver. Conventionally, there can be differentiation between human beings according to geography and cultural backgrounds. But inside the physical body, there is no difference at all. Everyone has a liver inside the body, regardless of race and religion. There is a heart inside the body, the lungs and kidneys too, and their functioning are the same, regardless of race and religion. If you can see the truth of personality in this way, you will understand the truth of impersonality. There is no man, no woman, no race, and no religion. They are all just conventional truth. All these visual organs are functioning in this body at the same time. The heart is pumping, the lungs breathing in and out, the stomach digesting, the liver secreting biles, the kidneys cleansing the blood. All these visceral organs are functioning without our effort. Do we have to do anything to keep ourselves going? Make a thorough investigation. Where is I? Which part of the physical body can be rightly called I? It is totally wrong for us to take these impersonal organs of the physical body, intellectualize in this way. If there is no skin covering the body, the blood will ooze out. Do your parents cover the body with a skin? Did you yourself cover the body with a skin? Ask yourself. We didn't cover the body with the skin by ourselves. So it is totally wrong for us to take this body to be me or my property. In outer appearance, the body may vary in complexion, but the inner content are the same, regardless of race and religion. You try to understand the inner reality of this physical body, which we call I. Only when you can penetrate the internal truth, you can remove the wrong views on your mind, rationalize intellectually, try to visualize the brain in the skull. Did your parents put brain in your head? Did you put the brain in the head by yourself? Which part of the body did you make by yourself? What did you do to call this body my body? We are totally wrong to take this physical body to be me or my property. Try to focus on the brain in the head and rationalize intellectually. Imagine the two eyeballs in the face. Did you put two eyeballs in their place by yourself? Did your parents put the two eyeballs for you to see things? You didn't put the eyeballs by yourself, and your parents didn't put the two eyeballs in their place for you. So the two eyeballs don't belong to you. They don't belong to your parents. The two eyeballs don't belong to your parents. They don't belong to anyone. They don't belong to you. So these two eyeballs are just impersonal entities, not my property, not my eyes. Intellectualize in this way. There are eyes, so there is seeing. But in seeing, there is no I who is seeing. In the instance of seeing, there is no one who sees behind the act of seeing. Seeing is just a natural phenomenon. Watch carefully. You try to see the flesh in the body, blood-stained flesh in the body. Try to visualize blood-stained flesh with displeasing smell. And also try to visualize the complex network of blood vessels in the whole body. Watch carefully. All the internal organs are functioning just like an intricate mechanism of a vehicle in motion. The driving force behind the mechanism of all the internal organs in this body is the karma, the action done in the past lives. It is not because of your parents. It is not because of you. None of the organs in this body are made by you. Try to understand in this way. There is a system of excreting the waste matter from the body. This body is full of rotten materials. Inside the body, there is not a single part that has a pleasing smell. Every part of the physical body has a displeasing smell. Focus on your fingers and toes. Did you make any one of the nails on your hands and feet? If you take one of these nails on your hands and feet to be my property, then you are in the wrong. Anyone, regardless of race and religion, has the nails on their hands and feet. So in the nails on your hands and feet, there is no race and religion. In nails, there is no gender. Watch carefully and visualize in this way. Try to have a vivid general picture of the whole body. If you can see the whole skeleton in the body, you can watch on the skeleton and try to understand the impersonal nature of them. And then you can proceed further to see all the internal organs in the body and try to understand the impersonal nature of the physical body. Watch carefully. Try to focus on each and every part of the physical body and try to understand the impersonal nature of them. The heart, the lungs, the liver, the stomach, the intestine, the flesh, the blood, the kidneys, the intestines. You try to focus each and every part of the physical body one by one, and you try to rationalize intellectually. Try to understand in the light of impersonality. You try to understand the truth of impersonality, non-self. Where is I? Which part of the physical body can be rightly called I? So what is the gender, the male and the female? What is the race and what is the religion? In the intestines, can you find race and religion? Can you find the gender? Is there feminine intestines or male intestines? Is there identity in the heart? Is there faith or religion in the heart? Is there higher class lungs or lower class lungs? Examine carefully. Can you find gender in all these internal organs? Can we identify any one of these internal organs with I or man or woman? What is the nationality? A Chinese lungs or a Japanese heart or American intestines? Is there nationality in the internal organs? On what grounds do we take nationality or religion or race? Discover the truth. If you are watching the bodily sensations as manifestations of the elements, you try to understand the impersonality. In the entire body, there are bodily sensations afflicting all the time. We are being afflicted by stiffness, being afflicted by heat, being afflicted by numbness, being afflicted by sweatiness. Life is nothing more than being afflicted by bodily sensations. Are we imposing affliction on ourselves? There is suffering all the time, being afflicted by this body. Everybody wants to be happy and healthy. So this physical body is always in a state of constant affliction and change. There is no such thing in this body as being healthy. We have to change the posture all the time. If there is no change in the posture, the body afflicts us with suffering. Try to be fully aware of the whole body. If you pay your attention to the sensations, then you can't find the leg and the head, the hands or the feet. In sensations, there is no shape and form. All that you find is natural material phenomena going on their own natural course. Stiffness or heat or cold or tension or vibration or cohesion. None of these manifestations of the physical body cannot be identified as I or me. In heat and cold, there is no race or religion. In numbness, in stiffness, there is no identity of this man, this woman. There is no gender in bodily sensations. There is nothing lovable or attractive. You try to watch carefully all these bodily sensations manifested inside. So which one of these bodily sensations can we be attached to? Do we love the heat or the cold? Can we rightly call the heat or cold as our parents? Can we rightly call this heat element as son or daughter? In these bodily sensations, do we find a son or a daughter, or a father or a mother? In the heat element, is there religion or race? Make a thorough investigation. There is stiffness somewhere in the body. Is it suffering or not suffering? Is there gender in stiffness? Is the stiffness parents or son or daughter? Can we discriminate the heat element of the foe from the heat element of the friend? No, we cannot discriminate the heat. Because of this discrimination, there is no peace in the world. Try to watch the continual affliction of the physical body by way of sensation. There are only bodily sensations in a state of constant change. In these sensations, there is no race or religion. There is no form and shape, so no head, no hands, no feet, no leg, no physical body. Try to realize the formless, shapeless, material nature of the physical body manifested as sensations. Sometimes the body is heated. Sometimes the body is ice cold. In these elemental manifestations, there is no gender. There is no self or soul. At a cool time, everybody experiences coolness in the body. At a hot time, everybody experiences hotness in the body. So in heat element, there is no race or religion. There is no father, no mother. What is really there is only heat element. Watch carefully. Try to personally experience the truth shown by the physical body. Try to understand the impermanent nature of the elements in the body. Try to directly experience the changing nature of the impersonal body. Also try to realize the afflicting nature of the physical body. Watch carefully. Don't forget to be mindful of the physical body. Rationalize intellectually. If you are happy to watch the mind, you can watch how thoughts come up one after another without premeditation. Try to be fully aware of ever new thoughts that comes up spontaneously. When you are aware of the thought, it's gone. And when you are aware of the thought, it's gone. It passes away. If you are aware of the thoughts, they are gone. The mind becomes silent. If you are not mindful, then another thought will arise. If you are mindful of it, it goes into silence. The mind becomes silent when you are aware of it. Did you do something for the thought to arise? Or does it come up on its own accord? Discover the truth. Try to be fully aware of every new thought that comes up sporadically. On repeated practice, you will learn how the mind takes different objects at different times. Although we try not to think on our part, the mind will keep on arising one after another. So the mind is not me. The thoughts are not me, not my property. And on repeated practice, we come to understand that the thoughts are not me, not I, not my property. They are just impersonal mental phenomena. When we are mindful, the mind goes into silence. When the thought is gone, it's empty, empty of a permanent identity. Be mindful. There comes an urge to think about something. When you are aware of that thought, it stops to exist. A thought about something or someone arises. When you are mindful of it, it disappears. A thought about past experience may come up. And watch that thought and it will be gone. Try to be fully aware of every arisen thought without labeling. Try to be fully aware of the thoughts. Try to understand how the thoughts come up without premeditation, without our consent. Mindfulness means to be fully aware of the mind's content. At the present moment, all we have to do is just to be fully aware of the mind's content, and you will see how thoughts pass away. Be mindful of every new thought. Don't be carried away by new thought. Be careful. Don't be drifted away by thoughts. Try to be fully aware of every new arisen thought. A thought about past experience, watch how it arises and how it goes away. Try to be fully aware of the thought as soon as it arises. Try to watch every new thought on your mind. If you are mindful of the thought, it will go away. The mind is empty of thoughts, but after some time, a new thought will arise on its own accord without our consent. Be careful. If you are watching the mind, don't look any part of the physical body. Don't pay attention to any part of the body. Try to be fully aware of every newly arisen thought. A thought about past experience, a thought about food, a thought about pleasant experience. Whatever arises, try to be mindful of them. Thoughts will keep on arising, taking different things as its object. Don't miss out any thought on your mind. Thoughts will pass away as soon as you are aware of them. Try to maintain constant mindfulness. A thought about the future, or a thought of judgment, or a thought of commentary, whatever arises on your mind, try to be mindful of that thought. Try to be mindful of the thought as soon as it arises. When you are mindful of the thought, it will pass away. The mind becomes empty. And by this time, you may experience pain somewhere in the body. The mind goes back to the physical body instead of wandering off. The heels, the back, or the thigh, or the head, the mind may go towards the pain somewhere in the body. Don't pay attention to any part of the physical body. This is my leg. My leg is burning. There comes internal speech. You try to be fully aware of the internal speech within. Because of bodily pain, the mind goes towards the body and starts complaining. The mind naturally goes towards the most intense pain. Don't gratify the emotions. Abandon the body. Don't pay attention to the pain in the body. The mind naturally goes towards the body, and the mind starts complaining. My leg's gone numb, or it hurts. Don't move the body to lessen the pain. My back is burning. All this complaining occurs on the mind. When there is no mind, there will not be complaining. Try to be fully aware of the complaining mind. My head is burning. My back is in pain. My leg has gone numb. Try to watch all these complaining on your mind. Don't pay attention the parts of the body. All you have to do is mind watching the mind. There may come the urge to move the body, the urge to twist the body, the urge to get tense the leg. Don't gratify all these urges on your mind. Try to be fully aware of the thoughts, the mind itself, until the thoughts are gone by themselves. Don't gratify the emotions to move the body. Don't gratify the temptations. Resist the temptation. Maintain constant awareness. Try to be fully aware of the mind itself rather than the body. Totally abandon the physical body. Make sure there is no active connection between the body and mind. Try to be fully aware of the urge to move the body. Be mindful. Don't forget to be mindful of the mind itself. Don't watch the body. Just try to watch the mind. Don't indulge the desire to move the body. Try to be fully aware of the desire to move the body. What you need is patience and mindfulness. When you are mindful of the desire, it's gone, but another desire will come up. You patiently watch the mind itself. A thought about food, a thought about going somewhere. Thoughts will keep on arising one after another. Make careful observation of thoughts. Don't forget to be mindful. Keep constant awareness. Don't look for the mind. Thoughts will keep on arising sporadically. Just try to watch the thought that comes up at the present moment, coming up. You're mindful of it, going away. Upon repeated practice, the mindfulness becomes strong and thoughts go away and the mind becomes silent for some time. And you will come to understand the newly arisen thoughts are not made by you to arise. Be careful, there may be internal dialogue within. Try to be mindful of it. All you have to do is to be fully aware of the mind's content. This comes up, this goes away, this is gone. Don't make commentary in this way. If commentary comes up, you try to watch them. Try to be on the alert for ever new thoughts. There may be times without thoughts. At the time, the mind is silent. At the time, try to be fully aware of the silent state of mind. Try to watch the emptiness in the mind. When the mind becomes empty of thought, be fully aware of the empty state of mind. Try to be aware of how the thought starts to arise. Also try to be aware of how the thought passes away. Be mindful, watch carefully. Not long after that, a new thought will follow. Thoughts will follow one after another, taking at different things as its object. All you have to do is just to be fully aware of the mind itself. Don't take internal dialogue to be me or to be I. Be careful. Don't forget to be mindful. Try to be fully aware of every new thought. If the mind is empty of thoughts, you try to be fully aware of the empty mind. The mind empty of thoughts. There can be times where there are no thoughts at all. A mind empty of thoughts. A mind without speech. Try to be fully aware of the mind without thoughts and inner speech. Try to be fully aware of how a thought arises and how it passes away. And also try to be fully aware of the mind empty of thoughts. Don't look for the thoughts. Don't anticipate thoughts to come up. Try to be fully aware of the thought as soon as it comes up. If you are mindful of the newly arisen thought, it will stop, it will go away. Don't be anxious. Take your time and just try to be fully aware of the present moment. Be mindful. When we are absent-minded, the mind is overpowered by unwholesome states, and we lose peace and calmness. Be careful. Try to be mindful of whatever thought as soon as it arises. Try to cultivate constant awareness. A new thought comes up, and as you are aware of that thought, it will go away. After some time, another thought follows, and watch that thought, and it will go away. A thought about past experience, watch that thought, it will go away. A thought about a friend, be careful, watch that thought, it will go away. A thought about study or school, be careful, watch that thought, it will go away. Thoughts will come up sporadically, taking at different things as its object. Be mindful, watch each and every thought that comes up until they go away by themselves. Eventually, you will understand that the mind is not me, not my property. Without our effort, thoughts keep on arising spontaneously on their own accord. When we directly see every thought comes up and goes away on their own accord, we come to understand the impermanence nature of thoughts. A new thought comes up and goes away. Another thought comes up and we watch, and then it goes away. Sometimes there comes internal dialogue. You try to be mindful of them. Whatever arises on our mind, when we are mindful of it, it will go away. Depending on different objects, thoughts will keep on arising one after another. Be careful, be mindful, try to personally experience the impermanent nature of the thoughts. Try to be fully aware of the impersonal nature of the thoughts. The thoughts come up on their own accord without premeditation. Try to understand the impermanent nature of the thoughts, coming up and going away. Every thought comes up and goes away. When they are gone, the mind is empty of thoughts. Also try to be fully aware of the empty nature of the mind. So try to be fully aware of the arising nature of thoughts and or the state of mind empty of thoughts, or the silence of mind. Be mindful. Don't forget to be mindful of the mind's content. Try to be fully aware of ever new thoughts, the preceding thought and the succeeding thought, the preceding mind and the succeeding mind. The preceding mind means thoughts coming up and going away. The succeeding mind means a mind that is fully aware of the thoughts. When we are fully aware of the thoughts coming and going, that's called the succeeding mind. As we try to watch the thoughts coming and going, when there is no thoughts on our mind goes into silence. Try to be aware of that silent mind. What we are trying to do is to be fully aware of the mind itself. When we are mindful, we don't make comments, we don't make suggestions, we don't make judgments, we don't think about anything. Be careful. Don't forget to be mindful of the mind. Try to be fully aware of how thoughts come up and how thoughts go away. Also, try to be fully aware of how the mind is empty of thoughts. Try to watch the emptiness of thoughts. When we develop skill at mindfulness, we find our mind is empty of thoughts. The mind becomes silent. At the time, we realize the silent mind or the silence of mind. Try to be fully aware of a mind empty of thoughts, a mind without words, a mind without speech, a mind without verbalization. At that time, don't make commentary. Don't make a comment, there is no thought. Or where is the thought? When you make this comment, then that commentary is another thought. So don't make any commentary. Don't make comment. What we are trying to do is developing present moment awareness. We are developing choiceless, wordless awareness. When there is a comment on your mind, you try to watch that comment. Don't forget to be mindful. Try to watch the mind itself. The preceding mind is watched by the succeeding mind. Don't lapse back into carelessness. Don't slide back into carelessness. Try to maintain a constant vigilance over mind. Watch carefully. Don't look for the mind. Don't anticipate to look for the mind. Try to be mindful of the thoughts that come up naturally. Be mindful steadily. Try to be fully aware of whatever arises on your mind. Don't slide back into carelessness. Be mindful. Try to be aware of the presence of thoughts, and also try to be aware of the absence of thoughts. Try to know how thought arises, and also try to know how the thought passes away. Whatever arises on your mind, when you are mindful of it, it will go away. When it is gone, the mind is empty of thoughts. Watch that emptiness of thoughts. There is the state of mind where there are no thoughts on the mind. Try to be fully aware of the empty mind, a mind empty of thoughts. Don't be absent-minded. Try to cultivate the presence of mind. Don't make a break in mindfulness. Don't slide back into carelessness. Be mindful. Try to be fully aware of every new thought that comes up sporadically. Don't look for the thoughts. Don't anticipate for the thought to come. Be careful, be mindful. Try to be aware of a state of mind where there are no thoughts. This is called empty mind or silence of mind. Try to be fully aware of how the mind is free from thoughts, how the mind is still without thoughts. Be mindful. Thoughts come up on their own accord, and thoughts go away on their own accord. So thoughts are not me, not I. They are just impermanent and impersonal nature. Also try to be fully aware of how the mind is free from thoughts, how the mind is empty of thoughts, a mind without thoughts and words. It is called a silent mind. Try to experience the silent mind. Be careful, be mindful. Don't slide back into carelessness. Don't be absent-minded. Try to be fully aware of the mind without thoughts, or the empty mind. There is no end in thoughts, coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. When we are fully aware of the silent mind, we know the mind is free from thoughts, the mind is free from thinking. Thus a mind without words, a mind without activities. Try to be fully aware of the presence of thoughts and the absence of thoughts. Whatever activity comes up on your mind, try to be aware of that activity, and also try to be aware of the absence of mental activities. So the mind can be in only two states: in a state of a mind with thoughts and a mind without thoughts. Be mindful. Try to maintain a constant awareness. Don't be anxious. Thoughts will keep on arising spontaneously without our consent. All you have to do is just to be fully aware of whatever arises on your mind. We are not trying to eliminate the thoughts on our mind. What we are trying to do is to be fully aware of the thoughts if they arise. When we are absent-minded, thoughts will keep on arising. When there is presence of mind, the mind becomes silent. The mind is empty of thoughts. With a break in mindfulness, a new thought will arise. If we are absent-minded, thoughts will keep on arising endlessly. When we are mindful, no thought will arise. When we are not mindful, we are absent-minded. At the time, thoughts will keep on arising one after another. A thought comes up when we are not mindful, when we are absent-minded. Try to understand how we are mindful. Try to realize the nature of mindfulness. In English, we call this presence of mind. What we are trying to do is cultivating the presence of mind. Don't lapse into carelessness. Don't slide back into carelessness. Don't make a break in mindfulness. Don't make a break in mindfulness. A new thought comes up. Be mindful of it. Another thought follows. Watch that mind. Watch that thought. As we keep on practicing in this way, we come to understand that thought arises when we are absent-minded. When thought comes up, the mind is overwhelmed by unwholesome states. The mind is not pure and we suffer. When we are mindful, when we have presence of mind, no thought will arise. The mind is empty of thoughts. The mind is wholesome. The mind is peaceful and calm. When we are not mindful, the mind is overpowered by defilements and we suffer. The mind is burned with desires. The mind is burned with the fire of anger and greed, and then we suffer. The cause of fire lies in the mind, the unwholesome states called greed and anger and delusion. The mind is burnt with the fire of anger, greed and delusion. If you want to quench the fire of anger, greed and delusion, try to be mindful. If you want to get rid of the fire and the burning mind, try to be fully aware of the mind itself. When the fire and the burning mind are gone, the mind is free from suffering. The mind is peaceful and calm. Be mindful. Try to be aware of the arising and the passing away of the thoughts. What you need is mindfulness and wisdom. Mindfulness must be guided by wisdom. Don't forget to be mindful. Don't make a break in mindfulness. Try to be wisely mindful. Try to understand the nature of mindfulness with wisdom, intellectual understanding of mindfulness. Don't forget to be mindful. Try to be mindful of how thought passes away. Try to be aware of a mind absent of thoughts, a mind empty of thoughts, a mind without comments and thoughts, a mind spacious and clear, a mind spacious and unoccupied. If you want to be peaceful, just be mindful. When you are mindful, everything is cleared up on your mind. Anxiety, worries, discontent and anger, sadness, depression, excitement, they are all unwholesome states of mind. The mind is burning. If you are mindful, all these unwholesome states are cleared up. The mind stops and the mind is silent. The mind is peaceful and free. Be mindful of every mental activity. Don't look forward to new thoughts. Don't anticipate. Try to be aware of the silent mind, a mind empty of thoughts. That's the pure land. Be mindful of silence of mind. Don't try to eliminate the thoughts. Just try to be aware of the arisen thoughts. They all will be gone by themselves. Try to be wisely aware of the thoughts. A thought of happiness comes up. Be mindful. It will be gone by itself. The happiness is not me. There is no one who is happy behind the happiness. Be mindful of discontent. When you are mindful of it, it is gone. When it is gone, the mind is peaceful. Thinking about the past or future, that's asking for troubles. Be mindful of it until it is gone. Don't forget to be mindful. Try to be aware of the arising and passing away of a thought. And try to know the absence of thoughts. Always be on the alert. Don't make a break in mindfulness. When you are mindful, The mind is empty of thoughts. Be mindful. Thoughts are smoldering and burning within. Don't look forward to thoughts. Don't drift into thoughts. If you are carried away by thoughts, then you are wrong. Try to be aware of the thoughts. Don't forget to be mindful. Don't anticipate. If you think there is no thought, that's another thought coming up. That's right. That's another thought. That's true. That's another thought. Try to be aware of every new thought on your mind. Be mindful. Be mindful all the time. A mind with thoughts or a mind empty of thoughts. Only two possibilities. When absent-minded thoughts come up, with presence of mind, the mind is empty of thoughts. Lack of mindfulness and thoughts. Mindfulness, emptiness of thoughts. You are supposed to be mindful all the time. Don't forget to be mindful. Don't be carried away by any thought. Be mindful. Be wisely mindful. Try to understand mindfulness and lack of mindfulness. Be wise enough to maintain constant mindfulness. If you are happy to watch the mind, keep on watching the mind in this way. The skeleton or the internal organs or the four elements, you can watch whatever you like. You can change the subject of meditation if you want to. If you are watching the skeleton, try to see the impersonal nature of the object. The skeleton is just a natural material without a self or soul. It's not a human. There is no gender in skeleton. Try to see the impersonal nature of the object. It's nobody's property. We'll have to leave it behind when we are dead, and it will become dust in the ground. It's nobody. It's just a product of past karma lasting for a certain duration. Whichever part of the body, all that we can find is just bones made up of calcium compound. The teeth are just limestone, not human being. There is no gender in teeth. They are nobody's property, just materiality, intellectualized in this way. The aim of this meditation is to see the impersonal nature of this physical body with different shape, color and density. They are all just material parts of the body which we didn't make by ourselves. How can we take these things to be me or my property? How can we take these things to be my parents or my daughters and sons? What we call the father, the mother, or the son or the daughter is just a set of skeletal bones made up of calcium compound. If you can see in this way, you try to see your body and that of the others, then we can see there is no father, no mother in the physical body. All that we can see is just a skeleton made up of calcium compound. When we penetrate into the body of our sons and daughters, all that we can find is just skeleton made up of calcium compound. Then the wrong view of personality is gone. That's because we see the calcium skeleton that is really existent. By outer appearance, this my son, this my daughter. But penetrating inside, just the skeleton. Outwardly, the parents. But inwardly, the skeleton. Conventionally, this my husband, this my wife. But in reality, just a skeleton. Nothing to love and nothing to hate. Outwardly, this my son, this my daughter. But inwardly, just the skeleton. The rib bones, the spinal column, the arm bones, and the thigh bones, and the skull. All that we find is just skeleton made up of calcium compound. The pelvis girdle and the thigh bones, each and every bone is made up of calcium compound. The impersonal materiality without a self or soul. Imagine the loved ones Outwardly, this is the one I love, but inwardly, there is no one to love. Intellectualize in this way. Outwardly, this is my enemy, but inwardly, there is no one to hate. The whole world is ablaze, burning with desire and hatred. That's because people just don't realize the impersonal nature of this body. The wrong view of personality leads to love and hate and jealousy and discrimination. If we can penetrate into the skeleton nature of this body, there will be no more discrimination. There will be no hatred, no animosity, and no attachment. There will be no discrimination. There will be no more wars in this world. The world become peaceful. Try to see what is really existent. This is what the Buddha taught. The Buddha never claimed a faith or a religion of his own order. He just handed down the technique to penetrate into the inner reality so that we can have peace in our mind. Even the Buddha himself was a skeleton. The calcium skeleton is not the Buddha, but due to perfections in the past lives, the Buddha's physical body was endowed with the omniscient knowledge. He never intended to look for followers and personal worship. The Buddha never looked for the fame and power. It is out of compassion for living beings that he became a Buddha. Out of compassion for those beings who are bonded to the round of rebirth, old age, decay and death, that he fulfilled his perfections to become a Buddha. If you can see the internal organs, you can watch them and reflect the impersonal nature of the internal organs. Medical science tries to cure the body. The Buddhist meditation tries to cure the mind. Medical science seeks for the health of this body for some years. The Vipassana meditation seeks for the eternal peace of mind. The aims of both techniques are totally different. There are flesh in almost every part of the body, stained with the blood. If you cut a small piece of flesh from somebody's body, there is no nationality in that piece of meat, no race, no religion. There is no gender in this piece of flesh. In this piece of flesh, there is no class of high and low. It's just a piece of meat. The blood is just a liquid made up of water. When the blood is transfused into a bottle, there is no race or religion in the blood in the bottle. In the blood, there is nothing to love and nothing to hate. The blood is not something to be attached to. It's not something to hate. It's not something to love. There is no class in blood, high or low. There is no race or religion in the blood. But the blood is just unattractive, with unpleasant smell. The flesh on our body is just a kind of food for the tigers and lions in the forest. The flesh is just an edible food of no personality nature, no different from the flesh of the tiger, the dogs and the lions. In post-mortem operation, what we find in this body is just the blood, the flesh, and the visceral organs. No man, no woman, no personality. The heart keeps on throbbing without our effort, pumping up the blood into the whole body. The heart is functioning, going on its own natural course. Imagine intellectually, there is no one behind the heart's functioning. The lungs keep on pulsating, drawing in air and expelling out air. Try to visualize in the mind's eye. The visceral organs keep on functioning, going on in their natural course, all being driven by the past karma. Without breathing, we would all be dead. There would be no more consciousness. In the air that we breathe in and out, there is no high class or low class. There is no race and religion in the air. Our being keep on going because of past karma and because of air. The consciousness keeps on arising and passing away because of the power of past karma. When the momentum of past karma expires, we would all be dead. No more consciousness. When there is no air, we would all be dead. No consciousness. When the heart stops throbbing, we would all be dead. If any one of the visceral organs stops functioning, we would all be dead. There will be no more consciousness. All the visceral organs in this body keep on functioning because of the power of past karma. No one wants to die, but we all die when the past karma expires. No one tries to get a disease in this body. No one tries to get a disease in the lungs, in the heart, or in the liver. No one tries to get a cancer. But in due course of time, we develop a disease. We develop a cancer. That's simply because this body doesn't belong to us. When the energy of past karma expires, we develop a certain disease and we eventually die. Our being is brought about by past karma, by the energy of the past karma. Our being keeps on going. All the visceral organs are functioning because of the energy of past karma. The heart keeps on throbbing and pumping at the blood, the intestines pulsating and absorbing nutrition, the kidneys cleansing the blood and excreting waste matters, and the liver keeps producing enzymes and bile. The blood streams keep carrying nutrition to the whole body, and the rectum excreting waste matters through anus. All the functioning of the visceral organs are driven by the power of past karma. Visualize every part of the body and intellectualize in this way. When karmic energy expires, we cannot breathe anymore. The heart stops to beat. The stomach stops digesting food. The liver stops functioning. If this physical body were me or my property, we must be able to continue to keep this body going. We must be able to keep everything in this body going. Now, even the most advanced technology of modern science cannot make this body to keep going when karmic energy expires. We all die when karmic energy expires. This physical body is not me, not the other person. In this body, there is nothing to love, nothing to hate. All the secretions and excretion in this body, there is nothing to love and nothing to hate. The liver, the lungs, the intestines, nothing to love and nothing to hate. The blood and the flesh, giving out displeasing smell, nothing to love and nothing to hate. Try to understand the impersonal and unattractive nature of this physical body. If you are watching the sensational manifestation of bodily elements, keep on watching them, just like when you are watching the bubbles on the lake at the time of raining. You can see in the whole body different sensation coming up and going away. The stiffness, the sting, the heat and the cold, and vibration and tension and sweat. The bodily sensations are in a constant state of change. The heat changes into cold. The hardness changes into softness. The vibration changes into tension. The cohesion changes into dispersion. They are all sensational manifestation of the four rudimentary elements: the earth element, the water element, the air element, the heat element. All of them have no form and shape. afflicting all the time. They are all of the nature of continual affliction. However much good food we give to this body, all we get from the body in return is just affliction. The heat is suffering, the numbness is suffering, the stiffness is suffering, the sweat is suffering, the strain and tension is suffering. This physical body is in a state of constant oppression and affliction. This body is just a combination of the four rudimentary elements. In this combination of the four elements, there is no gender, there is no race or religion, there is no class of high and low. In this body, what is really existent is oppressing material nature in a state of constant change and affliction. Being unable to penetrate into the real nature of this body, we take conventional truth to be reality. We look at things through the spectacles of wrong view. This causes discrimination and animosity. This causes hostilities and wars. This causes struggles and clashes. And the whole world is ablaze. Because of this, the whole world is poverty-stricken and devastated. That's all because of being unable to see the truth. The time is up. Now let us take a break with meditation. Draw in deep breath and draw out deep breath. Draw in and out long and deep breath as a physical exercise rather than meditation. Draw in and out long and deep breath. Don't make quick breath. Make long and deep breathing. Keep on doing long and deep breathing in and out. This is just an exercise for better blood circulation. Keep on making long and deep breathing. Follow my instructions. Don't act on impulses. Don't get up suddenly. Don't make sudden movements. Follow my instructions. Don't open your eyes. Keep on breathing. Start to move your fingers. Clench the fist and extend the fingers. Slowly repeat this again and again. Start moving wrists, ankles, fingers and toes little by little. Don't rush, don't hurry. Take your time. Make slight movements in the legs. You can start making slight movements and twists in the legs. Those people whose body and mind are disconnected, wait a moment. Take your time. Keep on making deep and long breath. Some of you might be unable to move the body. Don't be afraid, don't worry. That's not a problem. Just keep on making long and deep breath. Just try to make slight movements in the hands and legs. Make slight movement in the knees and elbows if you can. Keep on making movements by bending and extending knees and elbows. Make slight movement in the head, turning to left and turning to right. Make slight movements for better blood circulation. Keep on doing physical exercise. If you get warmed up, you can open your eyes slowly. If you know you are ready, turn to the left and use your hand to get up. Get up slowly. You can sit on the floor if you can. Make movements with your hands. And if you think you are ready to get up, you can stand up slowly. You can also sit on the floor for a while. If you have difficulty in moving the body, follow my instructions. If you are a first-timer to this technique, you shouldn't try this technique alone. If you can't move the body, you can seek for help of others by massaging the hands and feet slowly. You should make exertion on your own. Clench the fist and extend the fingers. And then hands up from the elbows. Hands up and down from the elbows. You can get tense on your own in the legs and hands. Hands up and hands down slowly. And also try to breathe in and out. Try to make long and deep breath in and out. Keep on breathing and try to get tense. The body will get warmed up. Make slight movements in the hands and legs as much as you can. Hands up and hands down slowly, and try to get tense on your part. And get someone lift the knees up and down and try to get tense on your part. Don't worry, no problem. That's just because you've gone deep into meditation. Get other people move your feet. Get other people massage your feet up the body. You try to get tense on your part. Once you get totally warmed up, you're ready to get up. You'll be able to make movement on your own. By now, you can stop deep and long breath. Just focus on making movements. Get other people, pull the body up by the back. You try to get tense on your own. Don't open your eyes. Clench and extend the fingers again and again, and make movements in the elbow, and you'll be okay by repeating physical movements. And open your eyes slowly, and everything will be fine.